So today I was talking to this intern who's starting work with me tomorrow. And in this interview, I asked her, so why are you interested in Dreams Co? What are you looking to get out of this? And what amazed me was what she said was, for my entire life, she's a senior at Suffolk University, so her whole 20 years, she's like, I was a dancer and an artist. And 3 years ago, I gave that up because it's time to grow up. And when I looked at your company, I realized that maybe there was a chance that I could still live my passion. And I thought, this is exactly what I'm speaking to. Here's a 20-year-old who's already been told that her dreams mean that she just has to give up. It means growing up is a time to let go of the things that give you the most pleasure and the most passion. And my question to her was, so what is life really about? And her answer was what everybody had told her. It's about being successful, getting a good education, finding the right person, getting married, and finding success in career. And I said, and what if all those things didn't happen? Would that mean that your life was a complete failure? And it was so surprising that she was terrified to answer that. And I said, have you ever looked at if these are the things you actually want? And she's like, no, I've been told this is what I want. So I remember being a little girl and being out in the woods. My woods were where I got to be me. And I always wanted to be a dancer. I got to do it when I was a little girl, and then my parents didn't have the money, and so it just went by the wayside by the time I was like 8 or 9 years old. And I always wanted to be a figure skater. I would watch it on television and dream of it. Once again, parents didn't have the money. There was no way to do it. So in my woods, I had a swamp, and I would go and I would shovel off a 10 by 10 area. And I'd lace up these probably from Goodwill skates that had, rust on the bottom of the blades. And I would skate pretending that I was like someone on television. And I wanted to be a writer more than anything. But every time I did any of these things, I was told I was not good enough. And that to be practical. I was an intelligent girl. I was supposed to do this, this, and this. I did take a different path than most people, but what I didn't realize was that these deep desires, what I now call the desire effect, were still affecting my life. So today, I received a letter from the company Rumba y Timbal. They're my dance company. Now, when I made my list of dreams, I thought, oh, geez, to be a figure skater, impossible. To be a dance performer, impossible. But I want to learn to dance salsa. And it turns out that life has bigger plans than you could have ever imagined. Because I'm now going to be on a company team. I have now performed in front of hundreds of people. And I'll be doing lifts and tricks like I dreamt about out in those woods. And dancing with my company for as long as I choose to. I never thought that was possible. But now, in middle age, I am finally the dance performer that I imagined when I was a little girl. You see, the desire effect inside of us is always churning and wanting to make our lives into what we're meant to live. The problem is that it's always being bombarded with all our fears, with what everybody else has told us, and who everybody else has told us we're supposed to be. So what happens when you're fighting almost your own soul and the life that you're meant to have come forth with what is success, what are your accomplishments, what do you do for everybody else? And that everything that doesn't have a purpose to either make money or take care of someone else is really not so important and gets put on the back burner. This is what my desire effect did to me. I became very ill in my mid-20s. No one could find out why. Everybody would look at my life and say that it was so perfect on so many. And yet, I would wake up some days, pass out, and crawl to the couch. And I would go 3 days like that. The fatigue was so intense. My blood sugar was all over the place. And doctor after doctor after doctor could not find a reason for it. And then one night I had this dream. And in the dream, I was standing at the most beautiful banquet table overlooking all of Tuscany. And I didn't know anyone around me. And I was eating the most decadent chocolate. And I was the happiest I'd ever been in my life. And I woke up and I crawled to the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. And then I went back and I was in a relationship that was really wonderful on a lot of levels. And I thought, I want to be this person in the dream, but I don't know how to get there. And I have this good life. And so it was like 1,000 lotus petals closed up, and I chose not to go after it. But the desire effect will affect you. Because as it wants to come to life, it starts blowing apart your life. Whether it's in illness, whether it's in relationship problems, whether it's financial problems, everything it can do to make you look at what you truly desire, it will make happen. They say that, you get tickled with a feather, that God tickles you with the feather, and then kind of taps you with the little hammer, and then just takes a sledgehammer to your entire life, and you're like, what the heck just happened? I don't necessarily believe that it's God. I believe it's our own desires within that are wishing to come to life. They're wishing with everything they have to express themselves through you. And maybe that in itself is God within you trying to express itself. So when my life blew up just 2 weeks after this dream, after I said I would put this desire away, I kept wondering, what is happening? How do I put it all back together? And I hit a rock bottom 6 months later. That was so insane that I sat there with no place to live, no idea where I was going, no career, and pretty much my family torn apart. And as I looked to God, to a higher power, all I could say was, I don't know where to go, please help me. And I was with a group of people and everybody was laughing around me and I just felt broken. And I heard the question, well, what do you want? And I thought, whoa, I have the right to ask that? I get to say, what do I want in this life? Because I was a people pleaser. I'm a very empathic person. So when other people are hurting, I feel that pain so intensely that I just want to make their lives perfect so the pain will go away. So I spent most of my life believing if I could just make everybody else happy, then I would have the right to my happiness. So that moment of asking, what do I want, was very, very terrifying. And so I found a crumpled piece of paper and a pen, and I began to write. And from that moment on, I can only tell you that every single dream on that list was bigger and brighter and more magnificent than I could have ever imagined. I wrote on there that I wanted to inspire people to go after their dreams, or just to inspire people. It wasn't even dreams. And now I'm starting an entire company around it. That was not on the list. Like I said, I wanted to be a salsa dancer and maybe perform on dancing like that little girl wanted. And now I'm on a company team and training 10 hours a week. I wanted to be that figure skater, and I'm going to adult nationals. I am going to Africa on Monday to see the mountain gorillas in Uganda. And that came from being a little girl and seeing a documentary on Jane Goodall and how she interacted with them and wanting that desperately. And here's the ticket. I am no different than you. We are all humans. We all have the same potential. We all have stories that we have overcome. And we all have this desire effect that we've probably squashed down so far because, hey, there's responsibilities. There's no way I can do it. The financials, no way. I'll tell you, I looked at my list of 101 dreams and I said, no way, this isn't possible. But when you take your dreams and you put them where you have to look at them every single day and you don't take your eye off of them, they start to come true. Now, people will call that the law of attraction. I don't, because I know a lot of people who sit there and they're like, I'm going to manifest this in my life. And they get out their gratitude journal and they do what everybody tells them that they're supposed to do. I mean, there are a million motivational speakers out there reiterating the exact same message. And they do it because partially it does work. It works for a little bit of time. But it's not your roadmap. I am not someone that gets up and writes in my gratitude journal. I've tried it a few times. I get bored after 5 days. I am not someone that keeps a vision board. I'm someone who keeps a list. And every single time I come to a question in my life on which path I want to take, I ask, does it align with my dreams? David's on the call today. And there was a point where he decided to move to California. And he asked if I was living in California at the time, and he asked if he could rent out my place with a friend, rent a room. And because my list of dreams was right there in front of me on a big dry erase board that was out of the corner of my eye all the time on my wall, I looked at it, and what popped up was, I want to live in Tuscany for a month. And so I traded the rent that I would pay in my home and what David paid me, and I went and I lived in Europe. And people say, well, you can't, you have a job. And a lot of companies might actually say, yes, you can work remotely. Or maybe you change what you're doing for work because you start to align. I don't have all those answers. I have the questions that lead you to those answers. Because that's the ticket right there. No one else can tell you your answers. They can only lead you to the place where your answers lie. And when I went to Italy, I ended up standing. I always try not to cry when I say this story. I ended up at a banquet table filled with decadent food, overlooking Florence at sunset, surrounded by strangers who didn't even speak the language, feeling more content and happy in myself than I could have ever imagined. The dream that broke apart my life, that I had said no to, came true in my life by following this list. That's how powerful your desire effect is within you. So I want to do a little exercise. I believe that we have to go to the quiet. We have to get away from listening to everything else to find the answers. And so I invite you now to close your eyes, and I'm going to lead you on a journey back to when you were a small child, before everybody told you that you can't. Now, if there were bad things that happened in your childhood, I just want you to say right now, that was someone else's. It's not mine. And I want you to go to the place where you get to be alone. And I'm going to put on some music. And just close your eyes for a minute and take a deep breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Allowing all the thoughts to just disappear. Any anxieties or worries, they can be picked up later. For just 10 minutes, you're going to focus on you. And this feels good to focus on you. You deserve this time and this space. And by doing this, you bring greater joy to your life, to your own spirit, better health in your own body, so that when you are around those that you love, you come from a place of peace. So know that not only is this okay, but it's important for you. And take another deep breath in, allowing your nervous system to simply calm down. Slowing, slowing, slowing. I'm going to count you down from 10 to 1. With each descending number, you will go deeper and deeper into relaxation, into a safe place. And you will awaken the child within, the playful child within, that has been born with all possibility, with no limits. Going down 10, 9, 8, deeper and deeper, feeling more and more relaxed. 7, 6, 5. You are now starting to awake that child within. 4, 3. You feel the playfulness come to life. 2, and 1. You are now in a deeper, more relaxed state of being, where outside noises and distractions cannot bother you. And you are safe to let your desires speak to you. So now in your mind, I want you to see that child. Maybe like me, you went off to play in the woods and pretend. Who do you become? What do you want to explore in the world? And I'm going to give you a few minutes just to allow. Even if there's only silence, allow the silence. Allow whatever happens to happen. And now slowly you move forward, imagining that no one ever told you that you couldn't, that you were incapable. Imagine that no one told you that your dreams were stupid or impossible, or that they were meant for the world, because your dreams are yours. Move forward from that place and see all the things that this magnificent playground of a world can show to you. If you weren't afraid, if there were no limits, if you weren't worried what other people thought, where would you go? What would you do? How would you explore this life? And I want you to step into these dreams. Step in and for a moment, feel them coming to life. What would it feel like to actually experience them? What do those emotions feel like? Knowing that even if you failed, that it's not a failure, it's just a path leading you forward. And for every failure, it's just a bigger dream coming to life. How do you feel within if every day you woke up excited for the day because you are going to get to do something that you're so passionate about, that fills you with pure joy? That you no longer beat yourself up trying to follow the rules of everyone else and who you should be and how life is supposed to work. But instead, you began to let your desires unfold and guide your life. And if you have a family, imagine that you're all doing this together. Each one of you making each other's dreams so important in an equal way, so that your children see you manifesting your dreams, living this joyous life. And they know to live by example. You live by example. And if you're single, knowing that you get the choice to make your life anything that you desire as well. And as you step on to this path and you feel so confident, for everyone, the tribe of people that you need will come to you. Suddenly people will show up and they'll want to do these dreams with you. What would that feel like? And at every turn, you saw support and you ignored every place that didn't. Because that's just someone else's desire effect taking them down. And now I'm going to bring you back by counting from 1 to 3. The number 3, you will be wide awake, feeling restful, feeling good about yourself. Coming out 1, 2, feeling your body. 3, beginning to move around, being back in the room. So does anyone want to share the dreams they had when they were little? I know it's a really scary place because this is something that we keep so deep inside of us. You might have to unmute yourself in order to share.
I just imagine myself with my brother and my father fishing. That was just my kind of my happy place. Can you hear me okay?
So what about, how long ago was it that you went fishing?
Oh, it was when I was a kid up in Maine.
So what else in your life brings you that feeling?
Oh, like, not really sure. I mean, I like to travel. That's when I mean, like you, I like to travel. That's when I'm kind of more myself than any other time. You know what I mean?
So why is that?
Because I can just be myself and nobody knows me.
So why can't you be yourself when people know you?
I don't know. I guess because I see them all the time. I mean, maybe they won't like who I am or something, and I got to work with these people or see these people all the time. And when when it's new people, I mean, they don't know any of my past or anything about me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So what is your but I can't?
Well, I mean, I can't just leave work and travel. I need the money to do it.
Mm-hmm. So if money wasn't the object of the but, what of your but I can't, what would you do? How would you live every day? Would you want to travel for years at a time? Would you?
No, I mean, just go on trips and stuff every now and then. Like go see places that I've always wanted to see, or go to, take a week or two or something. I mean, just instead of working all the time, just take a break and recharge,
So is that 6 weeks out of the year, 8 weeks out of the year?
Oh, I haven't gotten that far. I don't, yeah, these are questions I can't answer. I don't know.
So what if you could know? What if you said right now, my dream is to travel how many weeks out of the year?
All right, let's say 6.
Okay. And so the job that you're in, how many weeks vacation do you get?
2, I think. Well, I get paid time off, so I mean, I technically I have that amount of time because I only work 4 days a week, and I have paid time off, and so yeah, I could do it.
Okay.
It just takes planning and commitment.
And so you have one life, right?
What?
You have one life, right? So if all it took was taking out a calendar, planning those 6 weeks, figuring out what it cost, and then deciding on where you're going, it sounds like you could actually do it.
Yeah, but it's scary too at the same time. I mean, you get in your comfort zone and you just figure, oh, I'll do it someday.
And so is the comfort zone comfortable?
No, it's annoying, but it's.
I'm not laughing at you. It's just you hear it all the time. It's like,
Well, I know. I mean, I'm not unusual, but that's just what goes through my head. It's like, well, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes.
So why does tomorrow never come?
Because I don't know, life happens, stuff happens. You find an excuse not to do it.
So.
Because it's scary. I mean, who wants to change is scary. People don't always want to change things. They just go through life. You're comfortable. You just want to get up, do your work, do your thing, go shopping, come home, watch a movie, go to bed, whatever. I mean, you just get kind of in a rut, and things stop being exciting, and you figure, well, maybe that's just not what life is supposed to be.
So if you found out that you had 3 weeks to live, one life, taken at any moment, which how deep would the regret be?
Oh, it'd be pretty deep. Oh, no question. I mean, you hear about these people. You hear about these people in I don't know who told me this, but someone works in a what do you call those, retirement homes?
The
or whatever.
5 regrets of the dying. Yes.
Yeah, and people are always crying and oh, they're like sad they didn't do things that they wanted to do, and I don't want to be that way. That's why I'm doing this.
So your exercise, and yes, I want you to turn it in. I want you to email me with this. One step, one baby step that you mark down 6 places you want to see in 2018. Or if you want to go longer, 3 places that you want to see because you want to go for 2 weeks. Okay. And then research the dates, the flights, and what it's going to cost to be there. And do that one step. And when I say that, what do you feel?
Well, I mean, I hate homework, number one.
This is your own life work. This is not homework. You get to plan 6 trips in
No, I know. It's scary, and it's also annoying because you're telling me, but that's fine.
All right. I'm going to let someone else get on and take you off the hot seat. Jen, do you want to share?
Sure. Good job, David. First of all, you're awesome. Love hearing and going through this very powerful and very good and very real and showing what is possible. I also went back to a place my uncle owned an overnight camp where I grew up at until I was about 15 before he sold it. So it's funny to see, even like what David said or you said, it wasn't such like a materialistic thing, but just an environment and energy of peacefulness and happiness. So I would say there, and the reason why is because I feel like even though I did have blood related family there, just the whole idea of creating community, and whether you were 5 years old or 80 years old, everybody was a part of one special location, and it wasn't a fancy place, but yet it had so much inner beauty and charm from the bodies that were present during that time. So that really was a very, very big and special part of my life. And my family as a whole, we went back because now my uncle had sold it, oh God, like over 30 years ago. And they made it more into like a handicap all year round kind of camp, not like a traditional overnight camp. But we had a ceremony there, and it was really beautiful. So that is immediately what drew me when you said.
When you go there, and that's your safe place, that's the place where you felt most accepted, most loved, most cared for, it sounds like.
Yeah.
The most where like you could just be you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you're longing for right now in your life? Or is that the place that your dreams are trying to speak to you from?
That's a great question. And I think it truly, I was 15 when I learned that my uncle was selling the camp after that summer. Unfortunately, my dad died tragically a few months after that. And I hadn't been back there since, like I said, it was about a year and a half ago. My whole family, we had a reunion there. So, what was the question again? I got up on a little.
Your safe place of your dreams speaking to, but as you speak deeper, it sounds like it's also, there was a very pivotal point where you became this innocence lost to this is adulthood. And so it's like that innocence is trying to say, I want this safety, I want this community, and this is where I feel that I need to be in order to have the dreams. Like, I'm not even sure I feel safe enough yet to be like, these are my dreams. This is who Jen wants to be and how I want to experience this passion. It's like there's still this part of you that's still trying to like find that way back to where's that safe place to allow that to come out. And I could be wrong, but you're nodding very
well. Yeah, because when you said that, I had said after my uncle sold it and I was only 15, so I was not really like in the work frame of mind to take on that kind of responsibility. But everybody who I spoke to when I said I want to own an overnight camp, oh no, you don't want to do that. The insurance, the money, the this, the that.
So we've gotten to it.
Totally. But what's interesting is I align myself with jobs that I may have not been the owner, yet I worked for not my family, but small family businesses that created that kind of camaraderie and feel.
So now taking all that, knowing the feeling that you want to have every day, knowing everything that you just said, what would make you every day just for you? Because I do know that you're a person that gives of your whole heart. And I can see it in your face and I can see who you are. But what would give you passion just for you? Your dreams just for you every single day that moves through your whole body as if it was like this light force of like nutrition and energy and just making you feel like, I can't wait for this time.
I think after a lot of recent years in self-discovery, I'm slowly getting there.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that every day I'm a work in progress, getting better and
All of us.
better. Yeah, yeah. And even, I can't talk too loud because my daughter may hear, but the funds aren't necessarily there, but we're going to Florida for her February break, and I'm going to make a reservation to go swimming with the dolphins, which is something I did years ago, which is so powerful. But nobody's hell. Okay.
Okay. So I think your kind of homework, as David called it, life work.
I like that better. I wrote that down.
I like the life work so much better, is to start exploring. Because it sounds like in a lot of ways, you've probably been like so many other people that you give so completely to almost the point that there might not be a lot left all the time at the end of the day for you. And so it's to start exploring things, whether it's, that give you that feeling, that give you that moment of like, yeah, I'm here. This is me. And, I had a list of 101. On it was to fly an airplane. I thought that would be so cool. It turns out it was boring to me. Like, it was great to go up and like fly around and look around. And I went around near the Golden Gate Bridge. It was in San Francisco. Amazing experience. We came down and they're like, so do you want to sign up for classes? And I thought, no, because once you're up there, the plane does pretty much everything. So people think that they're supposed to have specific dreams, that they're supposed to say, okay, this is what I know I want and I know I love, and so this is my passion. But the thing is that life's an exploration, and the world is the biggest playground you can ever imagine. And recently I hear this all the time, like, well, I've hit middle age and so this is impossible, or now I'm not losing weight as easily, or, I'm supposed to not want to do that. Hey, I'm middle aged and I'm flipping around a guy's neck, and what is middle age? Because if I live to be 110 and go out in a surfing accident, which is kind of what my plan is, keep bumping up the numbers, the middle age doesn't exist. So even if you go and decide, I'm going to do a clogging class, I'm going to go and do finger painting, but just so that you start to incorporate at least once a week, even up to every single day, something that gives you that feeling of that innocence, of that place. And you never know, you should put at that list, I want to own an overnight camp, because more and more we don't have good ones. And there are a lot of people, or an after school program, or things like that. Our dreams are there for a reason. And if that's what's speaking to you, let it speak. You don't have to make it come true, but maybe choose 5 things that you just want to explore. And it's really important to laugh at yourself while you explore. Take the failure thing off. Take the intensity off of it. Life is meant to be playful and fun. And so before I go to someone else, I did promise to talk about the finances, because you're like, the finances aren't there. When I made my list of 101 dreams, the finances were not there. That's all there was to it. I had some savings. I had no job. I did not know where my career path is going. And there are still times where I'm like, whew, how's this all going to work out? But I have learned that that's just a place of opening for how things are going to come about. But what it is for most people is a closing of a door. And so we think of money in a very specific way. So we have it in our checking account. These are our bills, and this is our limitation. And then we just end it there. We say it's not possible. So I like to take travel, for instance, okay? And if you saw my emails, I talked about turning $4,000 into $16,000. And in actuality, when I added it up, it was about $25,000 worth of travel. Now, if I add up all my trips, I don't even know, I've been to like 37, 38 countries now, in all my trips, I've made certain that I barely spend more than what I'm making back at home, and or what I would be doing if I was living in my apartment every day. So you want to look at, okay, what do I spend on that coffee? What do I spend on going out to eat? What have I spent on, clothes? It's starting to pay attention to the things that don't matter as much to you, and looking at the list of dreams that does matter to you. Now, I know a lot of people will say, at the end of the day, there just isn't enough to go around. And so that's when you have to start listening for the places that are going to come to you as you look at your dreams and you don't close that door, that are going to begin to open up. And like I said, I don't have the answers for everyone. I only have the answers for what happened to me. I only have the right questions. And the right question is this: how can this path open? And so in my course, the 10-week course, I have you go through a deep, deep, deep dive of financial. And I highly recommend that you use Quicken and that you actually itemize where everything is going, and that you have an entire chart for, okay, this is what my dream is going to cost. So with travel, what I do is now I use Airbnb. It wasn't there when I originally started. And so I would rent out my apartment. I would also look up how to write articles. And so I would exchange sometimes for tour companies to write a travel article for them. And I'd go for much smaller ones, so that when I was in those areas, I got to do things like going wine tasting in the Chilean Valley and doing whitewater kayaking lessons in the Fufu, for writing an article about them and posting it out, or sending it to different travel blogs and things like that. The other thing that I do is, instead of going with a tour company is comfort. You are paying, I like to call Americans as loving to travel with their turtle shells. So I went to New Zealand with a bunch of friends, and they were so excited because Starbucks was there. I'm like, what? We have this back home. Like, why do we care? Let's go to a local coffee shop. Let's taste the local coffee. Americans are terrified because of our news, because of our television shows. And so we think that the world is a dangerous place. And we're afraid of going through all the airline security and not knowing the language and what's going to happen on the other end. This is a wonderful place to be. It's just like going after your dreams. Okay, you're in that place where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to fail. Change that to, I'm leaving my comfort zone, and this is excitement. This is full excitement. This is not fear. This is my adrenaline excited because I'm actually doing what I desire. But we have been trained to believe that it is fear, and we automatically stop ourselves. Before every single trip, I have gotten pretty much sick to my stomach, thought there's no way I should go on this trip. I shouldn't do it. It's just too dangerous. And every single time it has turned out more magnificent than I could imagine. And I've met people along the way who have just, ask any stranger pretty much in any city around the world. Think about being in Boston. If someone came up to you and said, I'm in your city for the first time and I don't know where to go, and I really want to enjoy your city, you're going to be like, this is my favorite restaurant. This is what I did the other day. And if you travel this way and you use things like Airbnb and you trade your home and do trades, there's all sorts of websites that are very safe to actually trade, or you go and you rent out your home, then suddenly you can go to these third world countries that are very safe and very wonderful, and you can live much cheaper there. But as soon as you take the turtle shell and everything's prepackaged, now you're paying a premium price. So for me, I make almost no plans. Uganda's different. I had to make plans because I needed the permits for the gorillas. But the trip that I'm going on is worth $8,000 for 2 people. And we are doing it for $4,000. I went and I found a small company. Now, they are not well known. They do not take credit cards. And I said that I would post and help them to get off the ground. And that just can mean posting to your friends because they need business. Think about a small business in the United States and what it means for Instagram posting and social media posting. And so we cut our trip in half for 2 people. And then I went and I got a quote from one of the big travel companies, and the same exact trip, I kid you not, was $13,000 for 2 people. Now, I'm not staying in 5-star resorts. I'm staying in local B&Bs. And so you have to find your comfort zone. But there's always an answer. And what I can tell you is that when you travel this way, and you travel with your whole family, everybody has a bigger and better experience because you're no longer seeing things, taking a picture, and listening. Now you're experiencing it. Now you're getting to know the locals. Now you're trying out things and you're stepping past your fear. So are you getting this? Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else on the line that wants to share their dreams and kind of get some help, or are we good? I don't know if people know how to unmute themselves. All right. Well, I hope this was helpful. I hope that in the next 10 weeks that you take some of these dreams and you say, is there someone speaking? Okay. I'm going to go after them with everything I have, and keep your list of dreams in front of you. Make it your roadmap to life that your desire effect wants you to live. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marci.
Thank you for having us. Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.